It's a cold, snowy day outside, and we're cozy inside the house right now.
Can you say apple again? No.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Are you looking for a new dinner recipe? I have the perfect cozy fall dinner idea for you, and so I'm gonna jump in and show you what that is. This is something that I'm making for my family today, and I'm gonna bring you along. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it. Did I mention how easy this is? This is super easy. It could not be easier. It checks all the boxes. It's nutritious, delicious, easy, all that. So I like to think of this particular recipe as like a template. That way, it just gives so much flexibility depending on what you have on hand, what you need to use, what you want to use. You can have endless variety with it. I'm gonna start with the meat, the cuts of meat. For this particular recipe, I'm using beef shanks. They're also called soup bones. There's also other names for them too, but they look like this. You can see how there's the meat on the outside and then the marrow, the bone and the marrow in there. These are some of my favorites. They make the most delicious jelly, collagen-rich meat stock, but you can really use any cut of meat for this. It can be other cuts of beef that work well in like a soup or a stew type of a thing. It could be chicken, it could be lamb, game, any of those kinds of things. That's what I love about this, is it's really a template and can be so flexible. So today I'm doing these beef shanks. So I'm gonna start off by just putting everything into my cast iron Dutch oven. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven. I'm gonna be doing 325 degrees Fahrenheit today. Temperature is also something that I'll be a little bit flexible with as far as this recipe goes. If I know that I have a little bit of a shorter amount of time to work with, I'll usually do 325. If I'm starting it maybe say 11 a.m., 300 can be a good temperature. If I'm starting it in the morning, because I'm gonna be out of the house or just because it works to do it that way, then 275 can work. So 325 is what I'm doing today because, to be honest, I'm getting this started later than I originally intended, and so I need to make sure that it cooks by dinner time. So I'm gonna start by sticking these into my cast iron Dutch oven. I will have this particular one linked down below. I do get people asking which one it is. I believe it's the 7-quart size, and for our family, this has been working really well. It's a nice big size. So next I'm gonna go ahead and add some salt and pepper to these. So I have my Baja Gold mineral salt. And then I don't always do this, but I do like to do this sometimes. But while I'm cutting up the onion and garlic and the things that I want to go in with this, I'm gonna go ahead and put it into the oven and just let these start kind of roasting before there's any liquid in there. The next thing that I'm going to do is just start prepping the vegetables that I am going to use in this, and you can be very flexible with the vegetables. So I always use onion, I pretty much always use garlic, and then carrots are oftentimes what I'll use, but you can swap it out for so many different things. You can do carrots, you can do leeks, you can do peas, green beans, turnips, whatever. There's so many different options. Today I'm doing onions, garlic, carrots, peas, and sweet corn. The peas and sweet corn cook much more quickly, so I'm going to be adding those later in the day. I forgot to mention that I'm also including potatoes in this recipe for this particular day. And the potatoes I happen to be using this time are very small, so I'm actually not going to cut them at all. I'm just going to make sure that the eyes are kind of knocked off of them and then just add them as they are. The next thing that I'm going to do is add water, just enough to cover everything. So I did do a fair amount of chopping there to get some of those vegetables ready. It was still, I feel, totally doable, but I do have a quick tip for when you have no time. This is such a fast and easy dinner to throw together. You can get pre-cut vegetables, so you can get like organic carrots and peas. You can get a combination of peas, carrots, green beans, corn. You can get pre-cut up potatoes. Azure Standard is one of my favorite places to get bulk frozen vegetables and things like that. And so if you have a stash of those in your freezer, you can stick your meat in there, grab some salt and pepper, quick throw some onion in there, maybe garlic if you have the time. Add your water, your vegetables that are already cut up, and that's all that it takes, and it's so easy. So at this point, I'm just going to put it into the oven. I normally like to add a bay leaf or two, but I'm out of those at the moment, so I'm just gonna go without. And at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it into the oven, so I still have it at the 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Add the lid, and then it's going to be in there for, let's see, about 4 hours is what we're gonna get out of it. So this is like the minimum 4 hours would be. Since those cuts of meat were already defrosted and they're pretty thin, it's gonna be doable. I like to have at least 4 to 5 hours for this recipe, but it can totally go way longer. It just depends on when it works for me in the day to get it in the oven. So if it's gonna be a longer cook time, I just decrease that temperature accordingly. So the longer it's in there, the lower the temperature goes, all the way down to 275 would be the lowest if it's like started in the morning. So let's get this into the oven. And about an hour before we want to eat, I'm going to add the corn and the peas, since those take a much shorter cook time. So I'll be back when it's time to add those.
Let's see. Can you say apple again? No.
Okay, so now it's time to pull the stew out of the oven and add the peas and corn. I did also want to mention this does have potatoes and corn in it, so it's not something that would be on GAPS. But if you are wanting to make something like this on the GAPS diet, there's good news because it's very adaptable for that. You just leave out those potatoes, corn, anything like that, and use whatever other vegetables that you want. In fact, that's kind of one of the staple recipes that I like to make on GAPS is a stew like this, just because you can switch out the meat and the vegetables and all different kinds of things to make a lot of different variety. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those peas and corn now. So you can see that it's a pretty thick consistency, not a lot of liquid, which is what I'm going for. I want it to be more of a stew and less of a soup. Stews have less liquid. So for something like this that you're making with all those wonderful bones and all that beautiful connective tissue, it means you're getting meat stock, and when there's less liquid, it just means it's a lot more concentrated, so you're getting all those same benefits just in a concentrated form.
Yes, and then we can drive to the shop. Okay. All right. Bring it to me in the morning, okay? Okay.
Years from planting, so it takes 4 years. Oh, I got.
Okay, that's mine. This is looking really good. You can see there's marrow in the middle of these marrow bones that we'll get out and enjoy. I forgot to mention during the step when I added the shorter cooking vegetables, the peas and the sweet corn, at that point is also a time, if you want, that you can add something like tomato paste or something similar, and sometimes I will do that. I don't add tomato paste or anything like that at the beginning of the cook time because I find that it being acidic makes it a little bit harder for the meat to get nice and tender. So then I just add that towards the end, like when I would have added the peas and sweet corn would have been a good time, but I'm not doing that today. Sometimes I add it, sometimes I don't. It's nice to change things around like that a little bit to keep some good variety.
is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debts. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Bless us, Father, and forgive us and forgive us again. Bless us, Lord, and forgive us again.
Lord bless.
Lord bless you. Amen.
Good boy. I also wanted to mention, for those of you guys who don't know, I have a few different meal plans that I've made. So I have a GAPS diet meal plan. It's a 30-day meal plan. I have a Weston A. Price / Nourishing Traditions style 30-day meal plan. I also have a transitional meal plan that is designed to take people from however they eat into a very gentle, gradual transition with all kinds of tips for swaps and tips for making it through the transition into a Nourishing Traditions way of eating, and then into full GAPS if you want to go that way. So it's a 3-month transitional meal plan. So I have all those meal plans that I've made for you guys, made to fit various situations and needs that I have been seeing to try to help people out. And I'll have information for all those different meal plans down in the description box. So this would be really delicious served along with some sourdough bread or sourdough rolls. We're not doing that this time since it has the potatoes and corn in it. There's already some starches going on in there, and so it's going to be plenty filling just as it is. And you saw one option that you can do to boost your probiotic food, which we try to incorporate some fermented food with every meal. It's kind of a goal that we have, is put in some sauerkraut along the side. So that's also very tasty. So there it is. There's one of my favorite easy meals that checks all the boxes. It's nourishing, very delicious, easy to put together, and it can be customized so many different ways. You can make it more of a soup by having more liquid in there. You can keep it less liquid like I did this time and be more of a stew. You can have a lot of different cuts of meat, and anytime there's bones and connective tissue, you get wonderful meat stock with excellent benefits. You can swap out vegetables for endless variety and combinations. You can also, I didn't go into this much with this recipe, but you can also do fresh or dried herbs of different kinds and expand the flavors even more that way. So it's just, there's so much possibility for this particular recipe. It's always one of my favorite dinners to keep in the rotation, and we do it often. And I hope that you enjoyed coming along and seeing this. I hope that you give it a try. Let me know in the comments, what kind of combinations do you like to use in a dish like this? What meats do you like? What vegetables are your favorites? Let me know, because I'd love to hear what you like to do. Check out that description box for things that I've made for you guys. And if you enjoy these types of videos, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.